Hey everyone, Forrest here, and today I want to take a look at the new Smart Albums feature in Adobe Photoshop Lightroom. Now before we dive in, I want to give one little caveat, gotcha, whatever you want to say, and that is that this feature at the time of recording this video is only available on Lightroom Desktop. Any of the smart albums you create on Lightroom Desktop are not going to sync over to Lightroom Mobile or Lightroom on the web. I'm sure that that is being fixed right now behind the scenes, but as of right now, that's one of the gotchas of this feature. Now, I think we need to get into what is a smart album. Well, the first thing is to kind of understand this is a smart album is a smart collection from Lightroom Classic. So those of you who use Lightroom Classic, you already know what I'm talking about. If you've used smart collections, they're great. But those of you who haven't, a smart album is a grouping of images based on a certain set of criteria defined by you, the user or photographer. So as a quick example, I like to mark all of my favorite images with the pick flag, the letter Z on the keyboard, the little pretty white flag that's like, yay, happy day, happy photo. Every single one of my pictures that I really like gets that flag associated with it. And for years, we've had the ability to search through our pictures and mark for our search that we want to see all of our pick flagged images. The Smart Album just takes that a step further, allowing us to save that search for later use. It gives us a quick button to access things. And on top of that, it lets us layer on a lot of other filters based on a lot of different things. Now, there's two ways to make smart albums in Lightroom at the time being. The first is we can do it just through the Albums section. So in the Albums panel over here on the left, I can go to the plus sign and I can go to Create Smart Album. Now in here, we can give it a title. Maybe I want to do as just a quick demo, Best 2024 Images. There we go. And then we can choose to put it in a folder. So just like albums can be sorted into folders, smart albums can also be sorted into folders. So I'm going to say folder here is teaching. I'm going to put it in my teaching folder. And then we get to start building out our rules or our criteria that an image needs to meet. Now let's talk about best. Well, for me, my best images have a pick flag. For you, your best images might have 5 stars. So again, do whatever works for you. But I'm going to add a new rule, and I'm going to add the rule of flag. And I'm going to say that my flag is pick. And right now, if I created that, that's actually just going to give me my best images forever, any of my pick flagged images. And I want to make this just my 2024 shots. So I'm going to add a new rule, and I'm going to go to capture date. I'm going to say capture date is in the range of 1 January to 31 December of 2024. Okay, so we're saying anything with the pick flag that was also captured in this range gets automatically grouped in here. And as soon as I click create, it's going to build a little button over here. Now, here's the cool part. This little button is constantly updating. So if I go on a shoot next week, it's still 2024 at the time of recording this video, and I mark some pictures with the pick flag, they will automatically get thrown into this smart album. It's constantly updating. So if you're a photographer who maybe shoots a lot of sports and you shoot a certain team a lot, you could maybe build a smart album for the images of that team. Maybe you keyword the images with the team name, and you could say anything with a 5-star rating with that certain keyword, put it in here. And as you shoot through the year or the multi-years, they will add themselves automatically. That's also to say that if we want to remove an image from here, like this is a cool time lapse, but I don't think it's my coolest time lapse, I'm just going to tap the letter U to unflag the picture. That's going to remove the flag. And by removing the flag, it's going to remove it from my smart album because that smart album is only images that have the pick flag and were shot in 2024. So very, very powerful. I also want to show you that if we right click on a smart album, we can edit it. So we can come in there and we can rename it. We can change where it lives. We can also change the criteria. And I want to point out how many criteria they are. So we can sort by album, by the camera that we used. A lot of times I want to maybe look at maybe the ISO performance of one camera versus another camera. I can do that in here. The capture date, right? We already talked about that. There's some community aspects in here. So commenters, contributors, if you're sharing your images on the Adobe Lightroom community, you can get those. Depth map, edited, f-stop, shutter speed, ISO, all these things. ISO is a huge one. Sometimes I want to see how high of an ISO I can push my new camera to. I could make a smart album for anything with an ISO of 6400 and higher. And I could look at those high ISO shots and see how much noise they have in them. Keyword is an option. So for those of you who are keyworders, you can keyword your images and then have an album based on that keyword. So for example, if you're a landscape photographer and you keyword things with the keyword waterfall, build a smart album that pulls from the keyword waterfall. Maybe it also pulls your 5-star images with the keyword waterfall. And you just made a best waterfall pictures smart album that's constantly updating. Very, very powerful stuff. We have a lot of other options in here as well. Search is one that we'll talk about here in a minute, but I also want to say file type. Some of you may want to make a smart album for your videos, another smart album for your RAWs, another smart album for your JPEGs. So very, very cool ways to break things up and always editable. Now, one quick thing I do want to point out, you'll notice that it's always matches all of the following rules. There's no way at this point to change this to any of the following rules. I imagine again that that's something that's being worked on, but here we can say all of the following rules and then we can save, and now we have that album built. So I know I said at the beginning that there were 2 ways to create smart albums, and the first, like I showed, is the plus sign and create smart album. The other way is actually through search. So if I go to all photos, because if you remember this search bar up here, whenever you use the search bar, you're going to be searching inside of whatever you're clicked over here on the left. So I'm going to go to all photos so I can search up here through all of my photos. Now, anything that we search for up here is savable as a smart album. So just as a quick example to show you guys this, I might want to go to my file type here and choose panorama. And this is going to search through my entire image library, all 77,000 photos, and it's going to find anything that is a panoramic aspect ratio. Well, that's pretty cool. I might want to have a smart album for all of my panos. Now, not all these are amazing, but some of them are pretty cool. So up here at the top, I can click Create Smart Album. And that's going to skip the step of having to manually set the filtering tools. It'll just save whatever filter we have active right now as a smart album. So I could call this Panorama. And I could put it in a folder, throw it in my teaching folder, and then you'll also notice there's an Edit Filters button. So if you did want to tweak the filters that had been applied, we could do that. We can see now I have a panorama smart album. Very quickly can get into those images. All right, there's one more way I want to show you guys that we can use this that I think Lightroom folks, you guys are already going to be aware of this, but Lightroom Classic people, you may not know Lightroom does this. One of the cool parts of Adobe Photoshop Lightroom is the AI search. Without keywording anything, without location information or anything, without doing anything, your images that are stored in the cloud in Adobe Photoshop Lightroom are searchable by common phrases, common terms. Now, this is obviously something that is seeing improvement constantly, but it works already really well. So as a quick example, I've just done a quick search through my all photos for the word sunset. I've never keyworded anything with sunset. I've never put that in the location information. I don't have an album called Sunset, but there are all my sunset photos right there in front of my face. And what's cool is I could say also, maybe I want my sunset images with 5 stars. I could go sunset, go to 5 stars, put those both in the filter box. Here we go. We've got all those, some shots of like old shots from high school of jumping. That used to be a cool kind of shot back in the day. And then we'll notice there's the Create a Smart Album button. So if I go to Create a Smart Album, I could call this Best Sunset Images, or even just sunset and 5 star. Something like that. Leave the filters alone, put it in my teaching folder, click create, and now I have a constantly updating album of sunset photos that have a 5-star rating. So that sums it up, everybody. I hope you can put these tools to use in giving you a more organized photo library. If you guys like this video, I would really appreciate you dropping a like down below. Hit subscribe to stay up to date with future videos, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Thanks, everybody. By the way, the next one will probably be the Temu camera, which is absolutely tiny, or it'll be something else, and then the Temu camera. But this video is definitely coming. It's so cute. Really works, like actual screen, like amazing, real lens, real sensor. Looks like photos that I would have taken on like a point and shoot back in like 2000, round about 2000, like a cheap, awesome point and shoot. I love it.